Hello, thank you for landing on my YouTube channel. Whether you're here by design or whether you're here by total accident, you're very welcome here. You've landed on my YouTube channel, which is Learn to Drive and Thrive with Paul Riley. That, of course, is me. And there could be a number of reasons why these videos across this platform might help you. You might be a learner driver, and if you are, I was one of them. So I know what you're going through and I know the journey that you're on. You might be a full license holder with 20, 30 years of driving experience, just looking for some help or tips or information or to confirm and refresh things that you knew or things that you weren't sure of. Maybe you're trying to find good tips and practice for the learner in your household. And again, I've been a driver as well. You might be a trainee driving instructor, just starting out. I've been one of those. You might be a driving instructor that's just passed your test and is looking for help and ideas and trying to get as many different inputs as possible. Well, I've been one of those. You may be someone that's been doing it for some years, and possibly you get stuck in ways that might not be massively helpful. You might think, can I do things different? You might just want to confirm that what you're doing is a great idea, and maybe it is, and I've done that too. So if you're a trainee or a instructor with relatively short amount of experience, this is mostly for you. Your trainer and the company that you're working with, if you're working with one, should hopefully be giving you loads of really helpful stuff and all the materials that you might need or access to be able to train someone to drive, all the techniques, all the how-to, all the tips and tricks, all the how to educate someone, how to look after someone emotionally in the car, how the test system works, how the theory test works, how to study, what's good stuff, all of that kind of technical kind of stuff. Yeah, the stuff that you'd hope that your trainer, your franchise company, it would be pointing you towards. But when I started, there were things I just didn't know. And some of the time I wish I'd had someone giving me tips and pointers and the benefit of their experiences so that I could avoid having to find things out the hard way. Now, finding things out the hard way is all right. It's just sometimes it can be a waste of energy. And sometimes you might go through a up and down sort of feeling because you've done something in the way that's not great, and then it doesn't have great results, and then maybe your client's not happy with you, or maybe they leave you because they're fed up and you don't know any better because no one tells you. Now, the thing about driving instruction, and you've probably worked this out by now, is that there's no absolute guide or book or a manual or not even required reading, I suppose, that says you have to digest this in order to do this well. You could argue on one hand, oh, you must know the highway code and the traffic signs book and the road traffic act and MOTs and all that jazz. Yeah, you should. But the how to manage your business and how to navigate these choppy waters that you will find yourself in sometimes, you learn by doing. And there's one school of thought that says that's great, you learn by experience and all that. But then isn't there another that might say, if I can not make mistakes, if I can avoid them and pick up other people's strategies, maybe I'll be successful quicker and it takes less energy and effort. So that's my thinking. So there's a couple of things that I want you to think about if you don't already. Now, as ever, there's always caveats with stuff like this, because there are 42,000 driving instructors qualified. Don't know the number of trainees, but I imagine it's somewhere between 3 and 10,000. And what you don't get, like you do in corporate world, if you've worked in big companies, like I always use this example with the learners because it makes sense to them. But if you work for McDonald's, for example, they'll give you like a manual or a video to watch on how to cook chips, and they'll say, don't do anything but this. Do it exactly like this, like this, like this, not like that, like that, like that. And then that way, the quality of what you produce should be the same in everyone in the land. That's the dream. And that you follow a step-by-step process, recipe, whatever. But driving instruction don't do that. you feel your way and you do the best you can, but you're not necessarily going back to a reference each night and reading it. So these are things that I think that I'd just like you to consider, I suppose, and then make sure they're ticked off your list, but with the caveat that your franchise company, the person you're training with, they may have very firm ideas about what you can and can't do, and you may be contractually tied in to doing things in a certain way. So yeah, so take that into consideration when taking anyone's advice, even mine. So when you've been sent a client, or they've phoned you up and you've had that little bit of conversation, whether it's on the phone or by text, whether it's in some sort of an app provided by your company, franchise partner, whatever, here's what I would be doing. Straight off the bat, share your terms with them, including prices, including cancellation rules, including notification periods for, oh, I'm ill, what your driving test support policy is. Put it right up front. Don't wait till you've met them and you're in the car, because then you could be on a sticky wicket, because they then will try and force an agenda on you that you don't want. They might try and force a timetable on you that you can't meet. And if you get this stuff clarified right at the beginning, often you'll end up saying no to some people. And that's okay. You can't help everyone. You were going to learn that. You cannot help everyone. Can't do it in life. You won't do it in driving instruction. You want to. You really will want to. But you can't. So some of the time, it's just that person's not for you. What they want, you can't give. What they want, you can't do. What they want can't be done. So get some sort of a recognition and agreement about your cancellation policy, specifically your support package on driving test day and what that means, whether people should be consulting you before they go off and book tests. Make it really clear. And terms cards or some sort of an app, they're great. Your business provider might give you those, your franchise partner, whatever. But sometimes simple, like WhatsApp conversations might be, these are my terms. For example, 48 hours cancellation notice for any and every cancellation. There are no exceptions, none whatsoever, and any short notice cancellation means the lesson hours are considered as used and non-refundable. Do you agree? And then you say yes or no, don't they? And then you're halfway there to be able to prove what you have and haven't said, and that you are or aren't reasonable. So I definitely would clarify those. Share your prices for everything that you could do, whether that's lessons, whether it's weekends, whether it's evenings, whether it's motorways, support on test day. Clarify that if you're booking tests for them, for example, that you won't charge an on cost if that's something you don't do. I wouldn't, but so that there can't be any confusion about, oh, what do you mean it's this much money on? Just get it capped off at the beginning. Check the license. There's two schools of thought here. Oh, I'll just look at the license in my hand. Well, okay, yeah, you could, but for me, if you check a license and you check the history and you do the online bit, you're being thorough, and you should be thorough. You're trying to mitigate any risk, I suppose, about the person you're letting drive your car. So even if there's points or whatever, it doesn't make them a bad person. Of course it doesn't, but it might make you ask questions that you wouldn't otherwise have asked. What do you get the points for? And then they'll tell you, and then you go, right, okay, and then you can get under the skin of it. Why did it happen? How did it happen? What would you do differently? Whatever. You might even come up with, well, okay, I need to educate about whatever it is, and therefore it could provide a learning opportunity. It could be, I don't know, vehicle safety, or driving around with no brake lights, or I got nicked for bald tires, or it could be anything. But you're trying to educate them, and you can make it part of the experience to make it better, and you can start to understand that they may have left that period of their life behind. I drove for no insurance because I was a div or something. So there's that. There's you set your license, you check your licenses, and yeah, I appreciate you could check a license on Monday, and then on Tuesday that points might land on it. I get that. But this, don't check the license, don't give your driving instructor your license and your postcode, and it's rubbish. I don't support that. If you have a data control policy, and you should, and you might say to them, I will, for example, I'll only send you information if you tell me I can keep your name, address and telephone number or whatever. But once I've checked your license, I will delete it. That might be a thing. You might say, I will keep it until you've passed and then I'll delete it. Because if I ever have to call in and change the test day, and then I'm scratching around for your license number or your postal address, whatever, don't give yourself that hassle. So be thorough, and that way you may then even, I mean, I've had it, I remember I had somebody that set up lessons. They were sent to me by somebody else. I took what they said at face value, and then I did the license check, and they weren't entitled to drive a car. Their 17 hadn't rolled around. It sounds like a simple thing, but it's easily missed. And you don't want to turn up, you know, on a lesson 3 months from now that you arranged, and suddenly find that they're not 17 till 2 days time. I mean, so be thorough. And you set your lessons up, whether it's app or whatever. Have a reminder system, whether it's an app that sends a text, whether it's an email, whether it's you sending a WhatsApp, but let them know you want to not turn up and find they're not home or something, you know. Oh no, I forgot to tell you, I'm working with someone else now. And then again, it's this is what's the word, controversial maybe. Money up front. That's my belief. If you get payment up front for lesson 1 and payment up front for driving test day, then the person isn't going to necessarily mess you around the same way that they might if you do cash on the day. And cash on the day, oh, I haven't got it, can we drive to the cash machine? Oh, it's nothing but trouble. And I guess from my perspective, I'm committing to this time with you, and I'm not saying yes to other people. Therefore, I'm going to ask you to show your commitment to me by paying for the session. And you might find something that's compromised. Oh, you know, a £20 deposit or something. But I'd encourage you to get payment up front. Your cancellations will go to next to nothing if you do payment up front. You might even take it a step further and say that you've got to pay 7 days before. That's my business model. That any lesson is payment due 7 days before. The cancellations have so dramatically reduced. So it's a tip. So you know where they live, you check their license, you set up thingy, you've got payments, you send reminders, you maybe phone them if you're that good, you've got the time. And then I would, if you don't know where you're going in terms of where they live and what it's like, scope the place out. Now, I used to do that a lot. I don't need to do it anymore because you tend to learn areas and whatever, but maybe drive to where they live, have a look around, see where you're going to park up. Sometimes the postcode is terrible. It doesn't even put you in the right street. You can scope out then in the vicinity what you might consider beginner, intermediate and advanced routes. So where you're going to take them, because you might not have never been there before, and it's worth doing so that you have an A, B and a C plan depending on their experience. It may be a wise thing to do because you have an A, B and a C plan from you've bought the story how great they are and how much practice they've had and such like, and then you teach them and then they go to pieces really quickly because the skill's not there, and then they suddenly need a much quieter environment. They need a nursery route, and if you haven't scoped that out and you don't know, because you don't know the area, you could end up giving yourself a bit of a headache. So yeah, routes. And then some of the things I wish people told me, right, is don't be a busy fool. Now, what does that mean? Look at your look at the schedule that you set yourself. Where do you start? Where do you go? Where do you finish? You don't want to go necessarily 25 miles in one direction and then 25 miles in the other direction and then 10 miles that way and then go and circle back on yourself, because you're just covering dead ground. Your time is definitely money, that's true, and travel time is cost, and every mile it puts wear on your car, or it gives you a time pressure, or it's just expense, or it could shorten your teaching day as well. So think of like you're, how would I put it, imagine you're like a delivery driver, right? You would try to organise your route, I guess, if you had a say in it. so that you are efficient. So you might, and this is how I sometimes do it, I go out to the top of the where I'm going, and then I circle back to home. So at the end of my day, although I've did the 20-minute journey in the morning, it might be when the roads are quiet, and then at the end of the day, I'm 5-10 minutes from my house. And so there's a positive upside to that. And you may just reshuffle your schedule in order to make that happen. Have the sat nav running in the bottom corner on the left if necessary, but or in its prominent place where it might be on test, silently on all the lessons that you do, and have it programmed to take them home. There's a couple of upsides to doing this. You won't overrun in terms of timing if you manage it well. They get used to subconsciously seeing a sat nav in the car, so it becomes much less of a thing when you introduce it later as part of test preparation. But moreover, you can always try to keep to time, and unless you're using it specifically for a test route prep or something, I always have it running so that I know how far I am from my end destination. Radar keys. Get a radar key. You can buy them on eBay. They open most, but not all, most disabled toilets. And then during the day, you can be comfortable between one lesson and the next, instead of, oh my God, I need a pee. Oh my God, I'm running late. Oh my God, I've got so far to travel to the next one, that you put yourself under time pressure to carry on like some Marine, when you could stop by wherever, use the facilities, and feel comfy. Maybe that's your rest stop. Maybe you get your sandwich from Asda's or something at the same time. Maybe you use it to take a decompression 10 minutes. Oh my God, I've had a stressful lesson or whatever. You can decompress, you can plan, you can eating and drinking, it sounds really simple, doesn't it? But you can run out of energy, and if you do, what use are you to anybody? You might use it to send ETA messages, like, okay, I'll be with you today at 4:20. I know I said 5, but I'm 40 minutes ahead. And then in the interim, they might reply back, yeah, great, that's wonderful. And then you might be setting yourself up to be time efficient. Radar key. So yeah, buy them on eBay, Amazon, whatever. Definitely encourage you to do that. Have a change of clothes. T-shirt if you got a work shirt or whatever. Because you can get uncomfy. You know, if you get rained on, or it's just have a change of clothes. It's a good idea. Warm jumper, whatever it might be. Because like any motorist, you think you're going to be driving in the warm and the engine's going to be on the whole time. And sometimes that don't happen, does it? What if you had a breakdown? What if you got stuck in a traffic jam? What if you had to turn the engine off because, I don't know, PC Plod has not said, oh, you know, you're not going anywhere in this traffic jam for an hour. There's been an accident or whatever. Engine's off, everyone. And then you can soon get cold. So you don't want to be uncomfortable. You might even extend that to having a little, like, picnic box, like a little sandwichy box, Tupperware, with a little energy snack, like an energy bar and I don't know, packet of peanuts, who knows, so that you've got something to chomp on if you don't have any food, or you were gonna eat later or whatever. So you want to be sufficient. Start on time, finish on time with your lessons. It's like any meeting. No one wants people to be late. Sometimes they don't want you to be hopelessly early, but if you manage the ETA thing that I'm sort of alluding to, whether that's an app or a physical WhatsApp or something, you can pick up a 10 minutes here and half an hour there, and your day might run a little bit smoother. Finish on time. So allow time for a debrief and questions. And you could potentially, because some of the time you will have all these plans and they won't talk and they won't answer questions and they just want to get out of the car and run. And that's okay, but you'll feel that I'm shortchanging them. So allow a sort of 10-minute debrief, reflections, target settings, whatever. If you want to use it as time to get out some sort of app or learning log and they can write in it, you can write in it. You could do it that way. But if you get stuck for time at the end of a session because you want to run the clock down, right, then consider, for example, using something like that. Let's go 20 road signs. I'm going to describe a road sign to you by words. Tell me what one it is. You might do show and tell me's or something like that. But you don't want to be chasing the day by being late all the time. And sometimes you'll get a talker at the end and they'll want to talk, and that's great. But if you're running your lessons to the wire in terms of timing, you're going to be late for the next person. Maybe you won't be listening to them because you're just thinking, oh, I've got to go. And so, yeah, start on time, finish on time. And keep people updated. with your arrival times if you can. No one wants someone to be late, do they? And I don't know about you, but I find it really helpful when I get a ping through the day and goes, Bob, the Amazon guy is delivering at this time, and Fred from Every is going to deliver at that time. It can just give you that little, okay, yeah. So whether you pull over to the side of the road and in the right way, engine off, all that, send a little WhatsApp, I'll be with you approximately this time today. Whether you you can dictate, you know, Siri, hello, send this text. That could happen. Maybe your car's clever too, where you just speak out loud and it will text Fred and tell him that you're 20 minutes ahead of schedule. Well, there he goes. Siri's piped up. So yeah, so they're just little, I think they're little helpful things, little hacks, if you want to call it that. And some of that, I didn't know any of these, and I found it out the hard way. So if you have found something useful in today, if you've got some ideas about content, things that you might want me to help with or cover or whatever, then drop me a message. It'll be in the show notes, and it helps me pitch the next thing, do the next content, because I've been doing this a while, I've been driving forever, and I know loads of stuff, and I'm thinking, oh, I can share some of this with people. And if one person finds something helpful, then it was time well spent, it was worth doing. So thank you for watching, and if you want to, if you like and subscribe to the channel, it tells others where I am and they might benefit from it. I guess it tells the platform that the content that people are seeing is helpful, so that's a good thing. And I will see you in the next episode the next time you hit play. Thanks.